there's no one way, is there? And there's certainly no rules about any of the things we do. There's just suggestions, and you know, if this was a pub, we'd all be just sharing stories, and it's much, much better to think of it that way, because I'm not some expert. Even all the people that come and sit up here and talk to you people, they've just done something that's worked for them. We get passionate about our material, those directors. We should. That's our job. We know things so well. We sometimes enjoy losing objectivity. But when you confront an editor who's a dispassionate storyteller with a whole bunch of tapes, the beauty of that relationship is those people are only seeing what's in the tapes. They're only seeing what's on that screen. They're not encumbered with emotions or with history or with anything else about those characters. And to me, that's so easily overlooked, that you're investing, you know, your story with a really good brain in the person who's actually better at telling stories than you and I are, because they do it every day. And I mean telling stories in the cutting the literal sense. So that's their primary skill, and it's a craft, and certainly by practicing it more than we do, they're better at it. Plus the dispassionate side of things, which I find, as I said, to be a huge advantage. I want someone to disagree with me. I want someone to say, well, look, you might see it in that character, but I don't see that. I actually think you're wrong. I actually think that, you know, this material isn't supporting what you think it does. Because the chances of my audience being closer to my editor's point of view, I think, are a lot higher than the audience being closer to my point of view at some moments. And, you know, social companionship across months of a struggle, months of the highs and lows of the creative process is, once again, also very human. And I think you need to share those things, because it can be hellishly tough, you know, in a structural problem, in a just the weight of process. It's really great to have an ally, someone who's actually sort of psychologically sharing the burden with you. To me, editing is the most enjoyable part of the whole process. It's my temple. I could live in the cutting room, and often it's like, oh, you know, I have to go home. And my editor's sort of half dead, because it's like 9 at night and I'm still buzzing around, because to me it's all about 1,000 ideas and 1,000 decisions that I just are addicted to. I mean, it's with certain types of observational material and certain types of filmmaking, it's the most intense decision-making process on the planet. There's no one, even at NASA, they're not making as many hard and fast decisions as we are in an edit, and it's really addictive. It's a magical place. So many great things happen, and it can be hell, because you're taking a block of granite the size of this whole Edinburgh College of Art, and somewhere in the middle of that block of granite there's this beautiful statue, and that's what your editing is about. It's trying to find that fantastic film. But you've got to chip away and scale mountains and fall down ravines before you can get there. But that's all why this great relationship that you build very intensely with an editor is so important. You couldn't do that on your own. You need a mountaineer, you know, you need someone else with you to make sure that you don't sort of get lost, I think. Probably 1 out of 20 times with me, something I thought was never going to make it. Just, you know, it was so bad, or it was useless, or it was wrong, and I've begrudgingly showed it at double speed or something to the editor so I can sort of satisfy their sense of having seen stuff. Surely, sooner or later, 1 out of 20 times, we'll get to a point where they'll say, but we could use that there. And it's just like it unlocks a problem, a structural or a visual problem that you would never have thought back then. So I try as much as possible to build in that time at the beginning of an edit. I don't even have to be in the room, just that they are imbibing that stuff. They are getting their head around it. Even if it is double speed, at least they've clocked it visually. They know, yeah, okay, we've got this, this, and this. Because if you don't show it to them, they're never going to know it exists, and then they can't use it. And again, it comes back down to that idea that a second brain on the material is so important and so useful and so liberating, because they're going to see it in a way that you don't. That's their job, after all, is to see it in a way that maybe, you know, we're slightly blunted to as directors. I'm a complete, you know, structuralist, and it sounds a bit dry and boring and engineering-like, but that is what enables you to tell a seamless story. You know, all films are about a journey through time and space, and the best ones take you on that journey with the audience, barely aware they're watching anything that's constructed, barely aware that there's anything sort of mechanical about it. We're just in the story. We're in a river, and it seems like we're flowing along rather than being sort of jolting along in a bad car journey or something. The structure is the way that you can best communicate with your audience, because it's a question of like, where are we and where is the character all the time? They're the big structural questions to ask yourself. What emotionally or narrative-wise is going on with this person at that point? And where, therefore, is the audience? You know, why will they care? Or what do I want them to feel at that point? And you can construct that, and that's why it's structure. It's deliberate. It's like putting a set of blocks together. The best films are always working where you, the audience, are filling more things in than what information that you're getting on the screen, because you want to be an active participant in the journey and the mystery, and a good director knows that. I mean, they want to employ you in that sense to do that job, because you make up the best story, you make up the best drama. If it's a scary monster but we don't see it, the best scary monster exists in your head, each of your heads, you know. That's why those films where the monster's barely seen are perhaps the most scary ones, because we're all making up the very monster that we're most afraid of. And, you know, the idea that you have to spell things out, which unfortunately many TV execs and commissioners have become wedded to this idea of there being no mystery and everything has to be spelled out in the first 2, 3, 4 minutes or something, is from an audience point of view, from an enjoying point of view, is ridiculous. People want to, and they're intelligent, that they want to discover what is happening. So our job is to plant themes and threads which slowly come together, because the audience is making those connections, just like in a good fiction film. No difference in a documentary. You can and should, in my opinion, try and introduce things which only get resolved, you know, 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the film. Because when they appear again, we all know that great feeling of, that's what's happening, or now I get it. And that's a great sense of satisfaction for an audience.